We the lazy declare that we will recline when we feel inclined. And yes, we feel inclined.
We answered our kids' questions all day. It's our time to prioritize, no priorities.
Why?
Because
We put in back-to-back doubles, so now we'll be putting in extra OT right here.
We've checked off our to-do list.
Now we're checking off our to-don't list.
We the lazy are taking back lazy.
By getting comfy on our Lazy Boy furniture.
Lazy Boy. Long live the lazy.
How you doing, everybody? I'm Chief Meteorologist Denis Phillips. Heat's still the hot topic of weather conversation, right? Just smashed the previous record for rainfall in Tampa. Still a very nice day. We've got some clouds out there, even a couple of sprinkles as another front rolls through the area. Most of us wake up to sunshine and then very warm temperatures in the afternoon. For temperatures, they're going up and they're staying up. Really nice forecast, especially if you're planning on going to the beach or the pool. Rain chance is very slim. It's another beautiful day in store. It's going to bring us a very high chance of storms. Some isolated showers across the area. Mother Nature likes to remind us that it isn't set by a calendar. We're always on it for you, just in case things begin to pop.
Streaming from the ABC Action Weather Center in Studio A. This is Denis Phillips Live, sponsored by Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Level up your lazy moments. Visit one of our 6 Bay Area showrooms today. Lazy Boy, long live the lazy.
How you doing, everybody? It is a Tuesday night, 6 days away from Christmas. The weekend is just about here with our second hot chocolate fundraiser coming up. I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of folks visiting us. The neighborhood has been more active than ever. We're going to be talking a little bit tonight about the travel conditions, the forecast through the weekend, tomorrow morning's Snuggle Alert. And I do want to recap a little bit about the last weekend of the forecast, how things went, how everybody made it through the particular storm. I mean, I will be honest, and I kind of posted something about this on Sunday. You know, I saw there were a couple of people, and it was literally a handful, but there were a couple of people who were like, oh, we didn't know that things were going to be as bad as they were along the coast where there was a water rise. And, you know, it's obviously my job to try to get my point across there as clear as I possibly can and to try to do everybody. But I also sit here and I think about the possibility of how personal accountability comes into play on some of this stuff. Because I will tell you, in all sincerity, I don't think we have ever had a storm that we talked about as long as we talked about well in advance of the actual event. A week prior to our storm arriving on Saturday night, Sunday, we were talking about it all the time. I counted 53 posts on social media about it. We showed the tidal map at least a dozen times. And I sat here right in DPL saying, it's going to rain. We're going to get heavy rain. We're going to get some wind. And we're concerned about coastal flooding, but the severe threat, and we talked about this forever, was slim, but it wasn't zero. And we talked about the 5% chance, in other words, a 1 in 20 chance of tornado development, which we had nothing. I mean, I'll tell you, I kind of thought we'd get some thunderstorms at least. I did not see any storms actually move onshore. They were offshore, but never made it onshore. So in all sincerity, I really think the forecast went as well as it could. I think our information, and not just us, I mean, I think every weather source that I heard in our entire area was all over this thing a week in advance. So my point is, if people don't know that something's coming when we just 50 some odd times post about it and talk about it overall, I think at some point you got to look and say, all right, where are we not getting that message across? Are these people not watching? Are they not paying attention? Are they not following on social media? You know, and it's a genuine question, because I can look in the mirror and say, we gave everybody as much notice maybe as any storm we have ever had. Because there was never, like in the hurricane season, a week out, you're like, well, it might not hit, it might. We knew it was coming. We knew we'd have heavy rain, 2 to 4 inches, which verified. We knew we'd have water rise 2 to 3 feet above high tide. Now, that was the one thing, and it was the first day that we posted something about it, a week out. Someone said, does that mean the 2 to 3 feet? Does that mean total, or does that mean above high tide waters? And it meant above high tide waters, which we talked about over and over again. So that's a 5 to 6 foot water rise, which is what we had. It wasn't as bad as Idalia. It wasn't as bad as Ada. But yet there's also some spots with water rise that gets water in places that maybe you don't have at a previous time because it's based on the direction of wind and the arrival. So I guess what I learned out of this is no matter how hard we try to get the information across, there are going to be some people who aren't going to listen or pay attention or not realize what it is that we're talking about. And that's my job, to try to get it to everybody. So, you know, I look in the mirror and think, okay, what could we have done better? I guess maybe we could have talked more about the overall water levels rather than saying, hey, it's not going to be as bad as it was with Idalia or with Ian, which it wasn't, or Ada rather, it wasn't. But maybe focus on, okay, it isn't going to be as bad as these, but it's still going to be this, which we did say, but it's a slippery slope, you know, because you don't want to be the guy who cries wolf and says, oh, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. And then you know a lot of the people are going to say, hey, it wasn't that bad, you guys stink. Or on the other side of the coin, you don't want to underplay it, and then it is worse, and you haven't done your job. So it really is, I think, hey, Puerto Rico's in the house today. How you doing, Abby? Good to see you. Oh, Abby must be on vacation in Puerto Rico. So nice. So, and I'm not discussing this to say, hey, hear somebody say, oh, you did a good job. No. My goal is to try to learn from every storm and to try to do something better that makes it, even if it's only 1 or 2 people who didn't get the message, maybe next time they will. Now, I do turn that around a little bit and say, I do think it's personal accountability comes into play. With water rise, if you live on the water, you have to be extra observant about what a storm can and might do. I think that goes with the territory of living on the water. And like I said, the Weather Service, you know, we sent out tide charts, we showed the forecast. Now, I will say that the Weather Service said that that was the most, quote, reasonable worst case scenario, the numbers that they gave out. And it's pretty much what played out. So you can argue it could have been less, but again, don't you prepare for the worst if it indeed happens. So it's an interesting discussion, and it's one that I'm always open to conversation and hoping to hear somebody say, well, what if you had done this, Dennis? Or couldn't you do this? That's what I'm looking for, that kind of feedback that can be helpful for the next storm, because you know we're going to get them again. We absolutely are, probably in the next 2 months. El Nino is notorious for low pressure developing in the Gulf, coming across, intensifying, and bringing us some water. But in terms of the rainfall amount, check. The wind, check. The severe, I call that as a win. I mean, I said over and over again, it's going to rain. And for 99% of us, that's what happened. You know, it rained. So, Ginger. So anyway, but again, my goal is not, hey, nice job, Dennis. My goal is, what can we do better? It's always my goal. Because it isn't just about getting the weather right, it's how we present it to the public. To me, I think that's the most important thing. How do we get that information to the public in something that's understandable, that maybe doesn't freak them out when the conditions warrant it, and you know, we have the open banter. So anyway, we have got 3 or 4 days of some quiet weather. We obviously have some cold air coming in. Let's go ahead, and if you didn't watch the forecast, let's go ahead and blow through it real quick. And then we'll talk about travel conditions, and we'll talk about what's happening on Christmas Eve, Christmas night, and the next day. No snuggle alert on Christmas, Brenda. I apologize profusely. I do. Nothing out there right now. Temperatures at this hour, mostly in the 50s, although already down to 48 degrees in Zephyr Hills. Crystal River hasn't reported today. My assumption is they're just too cold and they don't feel like doing it, which I don't blame them one bit. No, it's a sensor error, I'm sure. This morning we started low to mid 40s. We ended in the low 50s along the coast. And then we hit in the upper 50s to the middle 60s, even some upper 60s in Venice. Tomorrow will be a few degrees warmer in spite of the fact that we're starting much colder. Emily, how you doing? It is a snuggle alert, Emily. It absolutely is. Where you live, probably about 39, 38, 39. The 80s will not be back, Darren, for quite a while. Low to mid 50s right now under clear skies. There's a look at the satellite picture. All's quiet. Overnight, we will see a few clouds try to come in, and that'll have a tendency to keep temperatures from dropping too low in most spots. I think low 40s. It's kind of what I'm thinking, but I do think we're going to go about 34, 33, 35 in Inverness, Crystal River, Brooksville. I know, Emily, I apologize, but you know, I'm offering snuggle weather. See, my goal is with our Snuggle Alerts, you know, it's to provide love and admiration for people amongst themselves. Do we walk to your house? Cassie wants to know. Oh my heavens, Mark had to wear socks today. That reminds me of the commercial. I don't remember if it was a Geico commercial or what it was, but the dad went through the thing at the airport, the security thing, and they said, have a nice trip. And he's like, you too, because, you know, we've all done that, like, you too. And you're like, oh, I didn't mean to say that. And then, of course, they all were like, what do you mean, you too? I'm not going on vacation. What's your problem? And at the very end, he didn't have socks on. And the guy's like, dude, you're not wearing socks either. Get your act together. So, Mark, but it's Florida. So, I mean, do we really need to wear socks in Florida? I guess if we're traveling on an airplane, we probably should. All right, Bolts are already up 2-0. Jules, thanks for the update. So there's a look at tomorrow. We'll be partly cloudy through the day. Temperatures around 70. By the way, on Thursday, my daughter Ryan, the plan is, if she is home, and I think she will be, I don't think she has softball. The plan is they are going to give a golf cart tour of our neighborhood as a preview for our Hot Chocolate Round 2 on Saturday night. The weather will be similar to the last go-around. Honestly, it'll be really nice. It's not going to be too hot, but if you're walking the neighborhood, and my suggestion to everybody is to walk the neighborhood and park outside the neighborhood on Omaha, because so many people did that the last one we did, and the traffic was really manageable. The sheriff did a great job getting the traffic in and out, and it was just way nicer because everybody's like, oh, I love that we're walking it because we can look at all the houses closer and we can see all the little intricacies that otherwise you would not be seeing as you're driving through. Again, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, our Hot Chocolate fundraiser is this Saturday, the last of our 2 Saturdays. My neighborhood is Indian Trails in Palm Harbor. We've always been suggesting people to park outside the neighborhood, specifically on CR1. Omaha is the best place, and walk it. I know a lot of folks did, and they really loved that they did. Adam, no, it was WTSP that came by. That was the story last week. You heard the story. I don't think we talked about it on here if you didn't. So Ryan answers the door, and it's a reporter from Channel 10. And they saw our house and our decorations. And they're like, hey, we love your decorations. We'd like to get video and to get an interview. Would you guys be interested? And the girl, and Ryan is like, do you know who my dad is? And the girl's like, no. And she goes, it's Denis Phillips. And they go, oh, never mind. And they left. Bobby Deskins is the meteorologist at Channel 10. He's a friend of mine, good guy, really good guy. He texted me after I posted that. He's like, yeah, I heard about that. And they came to your house and they're like, no, we're not gonna do the weather from your place. So, hey, Kim, how you doing? Deb in Palm Harbor, how you doing? So anyway, again, we'll be talking about it Thursday. I think they're gonna have a golf cart tour to show you the neighborhood and maybe give you some suggestions on the best way to come. I truly hope to stop by. We will have a very limited number of roll number 7 tumblers and koozies. So if you didn't get a chance to order them or you wanted to save the shipping charge, we will have them for purchase. Again, as always, proceeds benefit Children's Miracle Network and Feeding Tampa Bay. We have hot chocolate, we have popcorn, we have tumblers, we have koozies. And my daughter and her friends work the cars. So what I always tell people, if they walk it, we can do selfies, you can do whatever you want if you drive it. The inside lane, you'll see a sign that's for traffic. The outside one is for our house, and you can get out. The girls run to your car, get everything for you with the marshmallows, the whipped cream, the popcorn, whatever you need. And again, the proceeds benefit Children's Miracle Network. The beach forecast, yeah, it's we will give you the beach forecast coming up in just a second. Bellingham, how you doing, Adam? Good to see you, waving right back. Let's go back and take a look at the rest of the forecast, which does include the beach forecast, I might say. This lovely weather will only last another 12 hours, Rochelle, and then we start to warm up. Let's talk about those temperatures, shall we? Tomorrow morning, low to mid 40s in many spots, mid to upper 30s in the coldest spots, thus the Snuggle Alert. Lanka is going to the beach. All right, hang in there. The beach forecast is coming. Tomorrow afternoon, up around 70. All right. Thursday morning, not nearly as cold, mid to upper 40s. Elizabeth, Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. Don't think you're going to hit freezing tonight, Beverly. I think you're going to be about 34. So then Thursday morning, mid to upper 50s. Thursday afternoon, mid to upper 70s. So there is your beach weather. The new drought numbers come out on Thursday, Adam. My guess is they're not going to look much different. Even with all the rain, I bet they're not. It's going to take a lot more than one storm to really ease the drought. April, Merry Christmas to you. Friday morning, again, mid to upper 50s, maybe even closer to 60 in a few spots. All right? And then, hold on, looking at something on here. Wait a minute, where did that go? Okay. Afternoon highs on Saturday and Sunday in the upper 70s. But once the sun goes down, it's beautiful. Great hot chocolate weather. And again, we do offer marshmallows and whipped cream. So I'm not lying. I'm not joking about this. People swear that our hot chocolate concoction is the best hot chocolate they get anywhere. It's a true story. Because we load it with whipped cream. We have marshmallows. We double up the chocolate. So it's really, really good. And a buddy of mine makes the popcorn fresh out of one of those popcorn maker things. So we got you covered. And again, roll number 7 tumblers and koozies will be available as well. All right, so you're asking for the beach forecast. Here it comes. We cool off on Tuesday night or Wednesday of next week. I'm afraid it's going to rain on Christmas. I am afraid it is going to rain on Christmas somewhat. James, how you doing? Darren, you know what? If I had added some Baileys to that hot chocolate, we would make a fortune for the charity, but I'm not allowed to do that. So thus, I cannot. But I have thought about it. Add a shot of Baileys for $5. Man, we would have so many donations, but I just don't think we can. Priscilla, early flight landing LAX on the 23rd. Oh, you'll be fine. But we'll show you that in a second. We'll look at the whole national picture. All right, for the boaters tomorrow, northeast winds 15 to 20 knots. Key, northeast. Instead of north, the winds start veering a little bit off the Atlantic, and that's going to give us a few more clouds. Ed, you just go to Google Indian Trails in Palm Harbor. Indian Trails in Palm Harbor. Trust me, you'll see the traffic. You'll see the police letting people in, and you will see the line of cars to get in. I will be posting, oh, wow, another goal by the Bolts with Cooch with the goal. So 3-0 Bolts. 7:17 your sunrise. All right, there is your beach forecast tomorrow. Now, it looks kind of bad for Floridians. They're like, no way. Look at that water temperature, 62 degrees. Stephen, how you doing? Stephen stopped by the hot chocolate last week, as did Steve, as did several other folks. But I want to get a big turnout this weekend. So everybody needs to show up and park outside the neighborhood and walk it and come over and we'll do selfies and chit-chat. So the beach tomorrow, mid-60s, water temperature low 60s, mostly cloudy skies. So we will see quite a few clouds out there, but it's the high cloud cover. It isn't overcast. It's kind of that milky look to the sky. So for the folks who are going to the beach, there you have it. Most of that will not be Floridians. I'm telling you. People going to the beach. Oh, Mike is coming. You're going to the hot chocolate? Awesome. The day is Saturday, Stacy. Saturday. Now, I will tell you, we sometimes do it on Christmas Eve, because Christmas Eve is really mayhem in our neighborhood with luminaries, but we don't do it for traffic on Christmas Eve. It's purely walk-ups only, because we have so many cars on Christmas Eve in the neighborhood that I don't want to do anything to cause it to be even more backed up. And I don't hire the sheriff's department on Christmas Eve. So I will tell you, we do an hour or two of hot chocolate, and maybe if we have any extra roll number 7 tumblers or koozies, we would sell them on Christmas Eve. But again, it will not be car service. It'll be just people who walk up only. And there will be a lot of walkers on Christmas Eve. But again, it's this weekend, this Saturday. There's the 7-day. Again, when you look at the 7-day, we go into the mid to upper 70s, some really nice weather. But on Christmas, there's a pretty good chance we are going to see some rain. So let's talk a little bit about that right here. All right. Here is a look at the GFS. There's tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning, Saturday morning, Christmas Eve, Christmas morning. Now, from Christmas Eve to Christmas morning, you might have a little wave of rain come through. And then the next day, Boxing Day, a Canadian holiday, we have another area of rain. Now, what do you see here? First of all, you do not see any kind of significant low pressure development at this point. So that's a good thing. So we're not looking at any kind of a repeat performance. And then there's your 540 line, Sean, if you're here. There's the 540 line behind it, digging down with some colder air returning by the middle of next week. All right? And look how close the 540 line, it actually gets to Florida by next Thursday or Friday. So that is if this verifies, that's the coldest weather of the season arriving by the end of next week. You know, Adam, I'm telling you, Kahlua or Bailey's would make a fortune. It would, but I just can't do it. It gets shut down. So there it is. You bring your own. It's BYOB. BYOK. Or BYOB. Bring your own Bailey's. So there it is. That is next week. Now, as you guys know, I'm a big, huge fan of Levi Cohen and Tropical Tidbits. This, to me, is the best website out there for model data, and it's free. So I cannot tell you enough how impressed I am with his site and everything about what Levi does, including his tropical analysis and his videos during hurricane season. But here is his site quickly. Again, go to Tropical Tidbits, follow him on Twitter. The guy's brilliant. But if you look here, this takes us, this is the Euro, and it takes us into next week, and we will stop it right about, the Euro is a little slower than the GFS. The Euro doesn't bring the rain in until Tuesday night or Wednesday. So there comes the front right there, okay? That's the leading edge of the front, and that is the 27th. No, that's actually the 26th at 8 o'clock at night. So the Euro is slower than the GFS, all right? And that it brings through a front, and it also brings through the colder weather. Look at the 540 line digging back behind it. There it is, similar to the GFS. Maybe not quite as aggressive, but pretty close. So how much rain we talking? This is the 7-day rain forecast. Obviously, it's much higher out to the west, but there is the chance of some rain coming into our area. No snow in Florida. I'll look at your questions in a second. And that's the convective outlook. We don't even need that at all. So there it is. Timing. Next rain would be probably late Christmas or on the 26th. That's a blend between the GFS and the Euro. So no snow in Florida, Bruna. It can happen from time to time. It can, but it won't be this go around. So here's where we are. 30s tomorrow, northern counties, low to mid 30s. Inverness, Crystal River, Brooksville, 35, 34. It's about where I'm looking. Low 40s elsewhere, okay? Warming up to the upper 60s to around 70 later on in the day. Thursday, lower 70s. Friday, low to mid 70s. Saturday, hot chocolate day, mid 70s, but nice and cool once the sun goes down. Beautiful. And I'm not just saying this. We've had hot chocolate on cold nights, and as nice as that is, sometimes it's too cold to walk around out there, and you're freezing walking the loop around the neighborhood. So I thought last week, 2 weeks ago when we did it, we obviously rescheduled with the rain last week, and we rescheduled that 4 days in advance. So it wasn't like we didn't know it was coming. Literally 4 days before, we're like, nah, I called the police and said, we're going to have to reschedule. It's going to rain. Everybody should have known that was coming. Sorry, they should have. So, again, I think 60s at sunset, beautiful weather. We're going to have the snowblower going. We're going to have the music going, the lights and the music, the popcorn, the Rule Number 7 stuff, all, again, benefiting Feeding Tampa Bay and the Children's Miracle Network. All right, so travel conditions. Do want to mention this real quick, okay? For folks traveling nationally, let's go back and look at the national picture. All right, this is tomorrow morning. This is Thursday morning. Low pressure out toward LA. Coming across the Four Corners, looks like a big storm going to the Pacific Northwest. So the Cascades would get some snow out of that, and that's going to dig down into the Rockies. So again, this is Thursday morning, Friday morning, Saturday morning. That storm digs in from the Pacific Northwest into the northern Rockies. Maybe some lake effect snows for Buffalo, Erie. Snow across the plains and the Rockies early this weekend. Florida looks good. No travel issues for the Northeast, so that's good. No travel issues for the Northeast through Christmas. This is Christmas morning. Northern Plains, some snow, cold across the Northwest, but pretty good travel weather across most of the country. Tuesday, we get our rain. If we might get our rain, it is by no means set in stone if we even get anything at all. And then you see this starting to build up toward the Northeast toward the middle of next week. So the travel conditions look pretty good for most of the nation. Thank you very much, Ellen. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you, Priscilla. You know what? I had no Christmas decorations go down. No llama down, as Ryan says, and a lot of people continue to comment on that. I did see maybe one snowman and a penguin fell, but outside of that, because we didn't get that much wind. We had no decoration issues at all. We had no lights issues. Nothing blew up. You know, the overwhelming majority of our area had 2 to 4 inches of beneficial rain, had some wind. The problem was along the coast. It was the water rise. And it's awful. And it seems to be more the norm that if you live along the coast and a storm comes in just north of Tampa, you're going to get some water. I mean, here's your rule of thumb right here. Low pressure, 996 or higher, coming in north of Tampa at high tide, you're going to get 2 or 3 feet of water. Minimum. You just are. If it comes in south of Tampa, the water will be pushed offshore at first, so you won't get as much water. But if it comes in north of Tampa, that is a bad situation for us in terms of water rise. It happened with Ada. You know, you think about it with the Dahlia, that storm was 125 miles away, but it was such a large storm that it pushed the water. So it's just one of those reminders, and I got to remind, you know, but it's tricky because I'm giving a forecast for a couple of million people from Citrus County to Sarasota County, east to Highlands County, and only a small percentage of those people live on the water. So I can't spend all the time on the areas that are right on the coast because I have a lot of people who want to know the severe threat who don't live on the water, who want to know how much rain they're going to get who don't live on the water, who want to know how much wind they're going to get who don't live on the water. So those are things that in giving a conversation like this, I'm always looking for a better way to get messages out to the smaller number of people who do without alienating the people who don't and vice versa. I want to give all the information I can to everybody. I mean, that's obviously my goal. So I think that's about it. Bridget, cannot wait to see you on Saturday. Can't wait to see everybody who can come on Saturday. Again, from 6 to 10, I will post maps. I will post reminders. Thursday night, if Ryan does not have softball practice, we will do a golf cart tour of the neighborhood and kind of give you guys an expectation of what's going on Saturday. The weather certainly looks like it's going to cooperate. But tonight, tomorrow morning, a Snuggle Alert remains in effect. Mid-30s, Citrus, Hernando. Upper 30s in Pasco. Low 40s in Pinellas. Low to mid-40s. Upper 30s, low 40s, Hillsborough. Inland areas, mid-40s, mid to upper 40s, Manatee, Sarasota, back toward the coast. All right. I guess that is about it. So, again, we will also have some hot chocolate on Christmas Eve. I'll tell you, if you want to come Christmas Eve, it's mayhem. And I'm not even doing hot chocolate with the cars. We're just going to have it out there, people who walk. But Christmas Eve is insane. Mrs. Claus comes over. We wave at everybody. We get horse-drawn carriages, the Jolly Trolley. If you're looking for something to do on Christmas Eve, it's a fun time. So, all right, guys. That is about it. You have a great night. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And we will see you Thursday night with our neighborhood tour, as well as an update on the next edition of DPL. All right, we made it to the streamers. So that's it, guys. Have a great night, and I will talk to you on Thursday. Thanks again for all the support. Thanks. And again, comments, feedback. Look, I don't have a thin skin when it comes to that stuff. I'm always looking to find out a better way to get information across to you guys. That is my job. And if you can come up with something that you think I need to work on or improve, I'm all for it. All right? You guys have a good night, and we'll see you on Thursday.
We the lazy declare that we will recline when we feel inclined. And yes, we feel inclined.
We answered our kids' questions all day. It's our time to prioritize, no priorities.
Why?
Because
We put in back-to-back doubles. So now we'll be putting in extra OT right here.
We've checked off our to-do list.
Now we're checking off our to-don't list.
We the lazy are taking back lazy.
By getting comfy on our lazy boy furniture.
Lazy Boy, long live the lazy.